Welcome. Okay, everyone's coming in.
We're
Should have gotten pump
here.
up music. Forgot.
I know. I don't have any of it handy.
Yeah, it's all
Fail.
right. I know.
Fail.
Well, welcome everybody. I can see tons of people coming in now. But excited to have you all here on this Wednesday, maybe Thursday for some people.
Could be.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, that'd be a really early morning, but where is
Yeah.
everyone coming from? Share it in the chat. Curious to see. Here, and I'll
If
share it so everyone can see.
you're tuning in from Australia, it would be 2 a.m. there. So
Oh,
I
okay.
hope
Now
you're
that's
not tuning in from
dedication.
Australia.
Yes. Mm. Toronto. We were just talking about that. Scott's going to Toronto. So you're going today this week,
Tomorrow morning,
tomorrow
leave me. Oh,
morning.
it's Shalene. Shalene, how you doing? Good to see you again. Yeah, I'll be headed to the Travel Only annual conference in Toronto. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to just going to vent now. The getting my brain tickled so I can go back
Yeah.
into the U.S. on the way back. Really lobbying for the U.S. to drop that travel
Oh,
restriction here in the near future. That would be
please.
nice. I'm sure we can all agree on
Yes,
that. So,
I know.
um, but yeah, we've got a whole lot of people coming in here. So
Yeah.
New Orleans and Sarasota, Florida, Chicago. There you go,
Woo!
Stephanie.
Yes, I'm actually, and I get to be, I don't know if anyone even follows along with this, but I moved to Chicago, but I'm actually back in the Lincoln office. So that is how I have this beautiful background here. So I don't actually have a Travefy logo on my wall at home.
Mhm.
That'd be dedication if I did.
Now we
Not
have
opposed.
yes. Well, it is good to have you back in Lincoln, just because you make the Lincoln office special. It's
It's
not
fun.
the same
Oh,
without you.
it's just well, and definitely people. It's a little louder when I get in here, which is shocking. I know for everybody.
The decibel
Like,
level does increase when Stephanie's in the
yeah,
office for sure.
the
So
chit chat goes.
yep,
Yep. Oh yeah.
yep. But a couple shout outs here. Sybil from Cape Verde. If you don't know where Cape Verde is, it's not close to the U.S. So you're literally off the west coast of the Horn of Africa.
Oh wow.
So, or not the Horn, sorry, the western side of it. So very, very cool there. And Frank from Honolulu, aloha to you. S-
Aloha.
got a great showing today. This is exciting.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, thanks so much everyone for coming in. We just love, I mean, we love doing these webinars, of course. But this one's really special today because we've never ever done a webinar like this. So a lot of times like in webinars we'll talk about, all the content integrations we support and we'll show you some of them, but we've never had an exclusive dedicated webinar just for this. So Scott and I have been pretty pumped about this one. So there's going to be a lot of fun and what you can expect today. So what you can do is, I was just turning the chat off. So I don't want the chat to get too overwhelming for everybody. But feel free though to still use that because Scott and I can see. So we'll be able to see those. But for our webinar agenda today, what we're going to do is first, I always like to start off with just a quick Travefy overview because again, there's so many features in Travefy that we just don't have time today to talk about. So I want to just share all those. So for those of you who this might be the first time you're seeing Travefy. It'll be great to know what's possible with Travefy, but also our current users. We can't tell you how many times, people have been users for years and don't realize that some of this is available to you in your account. So I'll talk about all that before we dive in. And then of course, talking about adding content. I know this isn't a very riveting bullet point here because you're like, well, yeah, of course we are.
That's what we're here for. We're
Yeah,
here for content.
we're here for the
I
content.
hope we're covering that.
Yes, yes. So we will get to do it. Your lucky day. We will get to that. And then we'll also talk about adding booking information to a trip. So we're going to talk about all that type of stuff. And then of course the additional content integrations. And then we're going to do a little bonus at the end of how you can share things. So we'll get there. We'll get there. And then Q&A. So we will have time at the end for questions. So feel free to drop in those questions. You can do it in the chat, but it is a little easier for us to see if you do it in that little questions box. So that Zoom box, that is the best way to do that. So definitely put those questions in there and hopefully we can get to them at the end. But if we can't, which is very likely because a lot of times we don't have enough time to cover everything, is feel free to reach out to our support team. You can just email us at professional@travefy.com, go to travefy.com/support. lots of ways. You can chat with us live in your account. So definitely ways to answer those questions if we don't get to them today as well.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I
It's
totally, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say to echo Stephanie, I'm excited about today's webinar because we've never actually done one just about content and integration. So this is something fun for us to do. We get stuck in the, a
Hmm.
little bit of the monotony of doing the same kind of thing over and over again. So it's always fun to mix it up and do something different. And it's fun just to approach it just about all the content and integrations, which is a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
It's a ton of stuff. So it'll be a
So
lot of
much.
fun to go through this. And for those of you that really want to look under the hood to see, what other options are available in Travefy, it's a really good one. I do not have all of the fabulous studio lighting that Stephanie has. So you're going to see me go very bright when the sun comes out and very
Oh.
dark when the sun goes behind the clouds. So sorry if that's giving you vertigo right now.
Unacceptable for the studio. No, it's all right. Now I'm gonna have to be watching your face on here and see like it change. It'll be fun. Good old Omaha sunlight. At least it's a sunny day now.
Yes.
Um, but one thing that I want to talk about though, before we actually get into all the other things, is talking about what is content. And feel free chime in on this, Scott. So when we talk about content, you're probably like, okay, but what specifically is that? Well, so with Travefy, it's a lot of things. So when we talk about content, we're referring to things like maybe some photos that you add, maps, videos, links, anything that you might be adding to your trip, your proposal, itinerary, no matter what it is. But the cool thing about Travefy is that we've added tons of features to make this a smooth process. So that's really what we want to do, is make it an easy process for you to get that content in there. So that's really what it is. So I just wanted to briefly just share that, like, what is content when we're talking about that.
Yeah, and just to build off of what Stephanie mentioned, even further of content. When we talk about content at Travefy, text, photos, videos, links are one part of that. The other parts of it that really differentiate Travefy are not just what you typically think of content of like photos and videos, but also travel-based content, travel-based information, booking information. So when we are talking about content from our team's perspective, what are the things, the information that's being added to an itinerary or a proposal? We're also talking about a live flights database. That's content that's
Mhm.
getting imported into an itinerary for you. We're talking about cruise itineraries, land tour suppliers, booking imports, destination content libraries, lots and lots of different things, even into your library of how you use that. So just to point out, we thought it would be helpful to really kind of define what are we talking about when we're saying content, because especially in the industry, a lot of people have different terminologies, different definitions for things. Content is very all-encompassing. It really involves anything that you can add into an itinerary or proposal on Travefy.
Mhm. Yeah. So really cool. And again, we're gonna walk through all those different ways in there as well. So super exciting. A couple things that I want to mention though before I really dive in here is some webinar housekeeping things. That this webinar is being recorded. So it's being recorded right now. And after the webinar concludes, just give us a couple hours and we'll get it posted on our YouTube channel. But also, yeah, so it'll just be on the YouTube channel. But also, if you go to the registration link, you'll be able to actually watch it there as well. So you can check that out. And then the Q&As, wanted to mention that again, just to use that question box. You can use the chat as well, but just it's easier for us to see those questions in the question. And then at the end, we'll try to answer as many as we can. And yeah, so that's the good stuff. So all right. I'm going to dive in here, but before I did want to just briefly share. I always like to do this when we have a product webinar because there's so many things in Travefy that we just don't get to talk about during every webinar. So I just wanted to share though, all the different things that do come in Travefy subscription. So if whether you are currently a user or you're trialing, you have access to everything I'm about to explain and all the different tools built into Travefy. The first one, itineraries and proposals, which that's actually what we're going to be talking about a lot today. So you're really going to get to see a lot of the itinerary proposal builder side. But then the pieces that we won't really get into today is the simple CRM. So we have a simple CRM tool where you can just easily save, client contact information. You can upload documents in there. You can put any type of information you need, but it also links to what trips and proposals they're part of. So it's a very great way to stay organized and make sure, that you have all the information you need for your client. Which also we have is Forms, and Forms interacts really well with the simple CRM. So that way you can use Forms if you need to collect any type of information, whether it's a new traveler inquiry form or credit card authorization. We have that availability as well, and e-signature. And again, those forms sync with the simple CRM, so you can keep all your details in one place under a contact profile. And then finally, the other one is websites. So we also have a website and landing page builder. It's personally one of my favorite things ever because it's a marketing tool. So even if you already have a website, that's okay. You can still use this for marketing purposes. I highly recommend if you go to our support channel at travefy.com/support, we have videos on all of these. We have long videos and then we also have like 5-minute videos on them. So you can choose which one you want. If you want a quick overview, but there's a website one that's really cool where we talk about, how you can build a landing page for marketing purposes. So really awesome. And again, that is all part of a Travefy subscription. So there's nothing that you have to pay extra for in there as well. So really cool. I can see Scott adding some stuff in here too in the chat is if you want a one-on-one and you want to check any of these out, you can schedule a demo or a training session with us, and all that good stuff. So, okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Let's
Scott, are
do
you
this.
ready to
Let's
kick
get
this
in.
off? Yes. Okay. So here we go. Now, again, this is going to be kind of different. So we're going to go into an itinerary that I've already started building. So I'm going to go into Smith Family Vacation. So I'm going to jump into here really quick. And what we're gonna do together is we're pretty much gonna build an itinerary together. And it's gonna look so cool. I'm really jealous of this trip. What we're about to add, I want to go on. It's gonna be awesome. But really in here though, what's awesome is that we're gonna be able to show you all the different ways to add that content, but then also how the supplier integrations that we support work in here. So the first thing I want to do is, again, you can see I already have the name and I have a date already selected for this. But one thing that I want to add together here is a photo. Now, we're going to be going into adding photos and videos multiple times through this webinar, but I just want to give you the first sneak peek about the photos because, again, that's one of the biggest content pieces that most users are adding because you really want to make these itineraries and proposals look beautiful. It's so easy to do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to add a photo in this cover photo. So this cover photo, it's like a tree right now. Well, we want this to be, make sense of where is the client traveling to. Let's put that photo in there. So what I'm going to do is just click change cover photo. Now, what you're seeing on your screen now is basically the ways that you can add photos and videos. And again, we're going to go back into this. But one thing that I like to do is we have a database of thousands and thousands of free stock photos that you can use. So it's already built in here. My pro tip on this is just use like a generic term. Use maybe in this case, I'm doing Greece. So I'm just going to type in Greece in here. Or you could put like me or Mykonos or Santorini or, choose something like that. Or maybe just want like a beach picture or an ocean picture. Just use keywords like that. And you'll find lots of stuff. You can see all the different photos in here. And I can go ahead and select one, which I'm going to choose this photo right here. And again, these are stock photos. So they're free to use. You won't get in trouble for using them. And they're also high quality and very big. So they're going to work no matter where you want to place it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I am just going to put save changes. There we go. Okay, we have our photo in. So that was your first thing of just seeing a little insight of how you can add those photos, but we'll come back in there. But now the first thing that we want to add is flights. So Scott was mentioning this at the beginning of, when we're talking about content, what are we meaning? Well, we have a flight database. So it's really easy to add flight content, like extremely, extremely easy. And you're going to see how. So all you're going to do here to get into that flight or to add those flights is just click new event and then choose flight. Now, in here's a database of we are connecting with flight stats in here. So you're gonna get if you just go ahead and type in, the airline here. So I'm just gonna do a Delta airline, and then you just need to know that flight number. That's all you need. We don't need like an actual record or their confirmation or anything like that. It's really you're just grabbing a flight. So this is also really good when you are doing like quotes and proposals and things aren't booked yet. You can still grab this information very quickly, and you just click get info. Just make sure make sure this is the flight you need, and you can add multiples. So if they're on different legs, you can type in the other flights. But I'm just going to click add to itinerary and boom, look at how quick that is. It's so amazing. And then what's great in here is you can also come in and edit this. So generally, I keep this the way it is. It brings in, but you can also come in and add those ticket details later, or add any notes. You can always customize more in there if you wanted.
And a couple important points on what Stephanie just pointed out. Click back into that flight, the edit view of it.
Hmm.
Also, when you scroll down to the bottom of the window there, you can also attach in documents. So if you want to attach in confirmations, e-tickets, etc., you can literally attach those in. Then your client can just pull open the mobile app and tap on those if they want to pull up the actual document from the booking. So just as a kind of a pro tip on that, that way the client has everything right in the palm of their hand. The other thing that's really great about the flight updates, a lot of questions come in from travel advisors on how do the flight updates actually work. You'll notice that Stephanie has her mouse hovered over that green check mark. That means our system is actively tracking that flight. So how that works, when you enter in a flight to Travefy, to an itinerary, and that's an important part, we turn on the automatic updates on the itinerary functionality or the itinerary mode, you'll see that green check mark pop up. So at that point, Travefy will start checking weekly, so every week, for updates to that flight because there are obviously lots of different changes and things that can happen leading up to a flight. Then, roughly about 24 hours in advance of departure, each airline's a little bit different of how they report those, but roughly about 24 hours in advance of departure, our system starts updating those flights in real time, literally instantaneously, so that when we receive an update, we immediately not just update the itinerary for the new times, gate changes, etc. We'll mark it as on time, delayed, or canceled. Hopefully not, but that is happening right now. So you'll see all those. The other nice thing is that we'll then send an email notification or a push notification to you and your clients, depending if you're signed into the mobile app or if you're not, then we'll send an email notification. That way you're getting those updates and it really helps advisors stay on top of a lot of the crazy changes that are going on right now. But just wanted to kind of expand on exactly how a lot of those updates work.
Oh yeah, it is. The flight tracking is so awesome. I can't tell you how many stories we hear. It's happened to me multiple times where I'll see it in Travefy first before the airport tells me like there's a gate change or the flight's changed. So sometimes it's not always the best notification because your flight's getting delayed, but it's awesome having that right there and very quickly.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. And you can also see too, one little pro tip on this is you'll see when that next update is happening. If the flight's within 24 hours, it's constantly going to update. So remember that. But one cool thing is you really can see when that next update. So if you know there's an update to it and you just don't see it yet, you'll just see it'll happen, June 15th on this one, for example. So in a few days.
Yeah, and if confusion ever comes up, Stephanie pointed out this is you can edit this. So say
Hmm.
the airline pushed out an update, but our update is not scheduled for a period of time. You can reach out to our support team if you need to, but also you can just go in and update the time accordingly to that update that the airline has made, just so if the client looks at the itinerary in the meantime, it doesn't confuse them. But then once we receive that next update, we'll just go ahead and automatically update and overwrite any of those manual changes that you made in there for the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you can totally go in there and just change that time in the meantime, and it'll be in there. So awesome. One thing too that I want to mention is we also do have for flights, there's also a GDS option. So if you need to put in that, you do have that option as well. So just want to quickly share that. But now, aside from flights, another thing that I want to talk about is adding hotel content because most of the time you're going to be adding some type of lodging, hotel accommodation content, and I want to show you how easy this is and where information is coming from that we're getting. So to add this, I'm going to go into Saturday because that's the day they arrive. So I'm just going to click the new event and then I'm going to choose lodging. So you can choose lodging. Now, here's where it gets really good. Again, with making this a seamless process for you, what you can do is literally just start typing in the name of the hotel. And this one, it's Amman Venice. And then see how, as I'm typing this, things are starting to appear. Well, this is coming from Google. So that's where we're pulling this information from. So it's coming from Google Places database. So that way you can go ahead and say, okay, that is the one that I want. And now look at, I automatically have a photo, I have the address, and I have the URL for it. Now you can edit that. You can always go in. Again, all of the stuff you're seeing, you can always edit and control. But it's awesome just being able to pull that in. And then, that's a photo that you don't have to add. It's already in there. So that's what's really cool. You can click view and you can see what's coming in here as well. And of course, edit that if you wanted to. But again, with the database, time saving, just really, really cool being able to pull that in. But now for one of the really fun parts. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this. So, we want to add more. Again, content. We want to add some photos, some videos, notes, information, and it's easy to do. So, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click that pencil icon so I can go into edit. And now this is where I can do all kinds of editing. So I'm just going to add some notes here just so you can see what this looks like. But in this notes section, I just pulled this from, I copy and pasted this from the website. So you could do that, or you can use this notes section to put your own information, or, especially like quotes and proposals when you want to break down pricing or talk about why this would be a really great place for them. You can also add links in here if you wanted, but a lot of formatting options as well. So you can bold things or italicize. You can highlight. There's a lot you can do in there. So that's really great to utilize that area just because it just gives it a little extra information, in there. But now the other thing I'm going to spend a little bit of time on here is adding photos and videos. So any event that you add, and an event is literally, like these flights, that's an event. If you want to add anything in there, you can. You can always add images. So you can add up to 5 photos or videos in this multimedia section. And so that's where you always want to come. So remember multimedia. So whenever you're adding things, that's where you're going to go. So if you click in this little box here, this will open up, which you saw earlier when I was doing that cover photo, our free stock photos. So we have those free stock photos in here. So you can do, find some photos in here. You could certainly do those. If you have your own photos, you can also upload them if you wanted. So you can upload those too. But one of my favorite things is you can also pull photos from a website URL. So in this example, I went to the hotel's website. You can see here. And I went to their website and I actually specifically went to the gallery. So that's a little pro tip for you is if you go to the website, maybe go to the page that has the most photos. And then you're going to get more from it because we're basically just scraping that page, trying to find as many photos as we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click get images and look at this. That was very quick. It just came right in. Look at all of these photos. I mean, it's like an endless amount of images that I can use. Now, again, depending on the URL, you might have, 5 photos or you might have a ton of them like I am. But you'll be able to see, just look at the URL on that page and see what's on there. And so now what I can do is I can just go ahead and click 5 photos. So I'm just going to select, I'm going to select 4 because I want to leave space for a video. So I'm just going to select those photos here and see, look, I just clicked on them and you can see them over here on the right-hand side now. And then I'm just going to click save changes. And look, they are in here. And we'll see at the end too what this looks like for our client, but our clients will be able to click on it and expand it out into a larger view. So it's really great and just so easy to add those. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to add a video because I want to show you how you do this too. Now, the video again is going to be in that multimedia section. So I'm going to click on that last little square. And now to add the video, I'm going to click video up here on the top. And it works very similar to the website where you just copy and paste that URL. So it could be like I went to YouTube. You could also go Vimeo or YouTube in here and just go ahead and click it and add video and check that out. It just added. And another pro tip on here is most of the time, again, I pulled this video from the hotel's YouTube channel, and you usually always go and look those, like look at the supplier YouTube pages or the destination marketing organizations. A lot of them are going to have some videos that are going to be amazing for you to add in here, especially in that quoting and proposal process. So your clients can really get, and the option to visualize and see it in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that. I'm also going to, you can rearrange these as well. So I'm going to move that video to the front just so the client looks at that one first. But that's it. Pretty awesome. Pretty stellar in there that you can add those in there as well.
The video is one of my favorite features in
Yeah.
Travefy. In being able to embed video directly into proposals or itineraries is so useful when you think about the sales process of using Travefy for proposals to send those, whether it's an all-inclusive, it's a cruise, or really in-depth FIT. It's very customized. The videos are so helpful to convey lots of information, whether it's within the sales process or get them excited about the experience. Maybe you're showing them a video of their resort. But then also when you start thinking about incorporating like destination videos from destination marketing organizations, tourism boards, etc., it can also be really helpful for that to convey lots of great information in advance of the trip, give them better historical or cultural information, things like that. So it's also great because the video is embedded in the itinerary. Travefy
Yeah.
doesn't send your client off to YouTube. Obviously, that's a huge distraction and kind of a rabbit hole. It all shows directly in the itinerary of the proposal that way.
Yeah, look at this. So I opened up the preview of it and look at this. It just
Mhm.
keeps everything in
Beautiful,
here.
beautiful.
It's so cool.
And a great question on video from Vicky: Can Are they allowed to use videos for copyright purposes or due to copyright purposes from YouTube? And the answer to that is actually yes. When the content owner, like in that case, the Amman Canal Grand Hotel, when their marketing team uploads that video, they're actually authorizing YouTube to be able to broadcast that video in other locations for the embedding purposes or for people to reference those and share those videos. So they're actually agreeing to that. They're allowing that usage. So Travefy is very, very careful to only incorporate functionality or tools like this, in this case with YouTube, that we're using it by their terms in that regard. So yes, you can absolutely embed and upload YouTube videos that way.
Yeah, that's a great question in there. So yeah, really awesome. And it's so easy to do. And we're actually going to talk about it a little later, but you can save this to your library so that way you don't have to redo this every time too. But we'll get into that. So keep that in mind though. Now, the next thing, this is going to be the most mind blowing one. I just feel it. Is we also have a cruise database. And so I'm going to add a cruise in here. Now, for any of you on here who specializes in cruises, this is going to be amazing because it is so quick and easy to get cruise information because we have that cruise database built into Travefy. So, how you access that is that you first just want to click into the day that it's departing. Now, this is really important because we search for those cruises based on that departing day. So, you want to make sure you're in the day that it's actually departing and then click new event, choose cruise. That's all you do. So it's kind of, this is very similar to the flights where you just kind of typed it in. And we have all the major ocean and river cruise lines in here. So you can see as I'm scrolling through, we've added a ton more too, like the American Queen, American Cruise. I know those got really popular over COVID for North America travel and all that. So again, those river cruises too, it's amazing. Now, the cruise that I want to go ahead and add is actually Royal Caribbean. So I'm going to type in Royal Caribbean. And then what you do is you select what ship it is. Now, again, we're finding ships that are departing on this day. So if you get like this one's departing on that day, this one is not. So if you get that little message, that means you're probably in the wrong day. Now, I want Brilliance of the Seas. So it's a Greece and Croatia cruise. And you can see, click Get Itinerary, and then go ahead and just make sure this is a correct one. So you can give a quick overview because it's going to add all this information. So to save yourself from deleting things later, you can just see, okay, this is right. So I'm going to click Add to Itinerary and watch the magic happen. Look at this. look at that. It just added all of this information in here. So it's very quick. You can see what day it's just cruising on this day. It's arriving at 7 a.m. to Mykonos, departing. So it brings all this in. And so again, what's really cool is this, again, this doesn't have to be booked. So if you're doing those quotes and proposals, this is very easy to just go ahead and say, hey, here's a high level overview of everything happening. And we're also pulling in information about the ship, including deck plans. So you're getting photos, and then you're getting those places, of course, you can get that mapping in. I mean, it's just amazing, all of this information. And of course, you can edit that if you wanted. So if you wanted to remove anything or add your own, like, adding different cabin options, stuff like that, you can do that very easily. So,
It's a ton of content.
yeah.
So that's where it's also great that Travefy takes the position that we want to leave the advisor in the driver's seat of what gets presented to clients. So we don't lock any content that you can't edit or change it. We want you to be able to adjust things. So if the client wants a lot of information, you can supply them everything that they could ever want for details on their trip. But also, if you know, like they just want the basic information, you want it to look professional, you can slim things down, remove things out that maybe aren't necessary for your clients to view. So that's a really important part. You can edit all of that. So if it's too much, you can slim it down if you need to.
Yeah, that's a very good point because sometimes, it's almost some people might not want everything, so you can easily slim it down. But it is just so cool in there. Now, the next one that I wanted to show, though, is very similar to the cruises. We also have a database of tours. So, how that works is very similar to the cruise, where you want to make sure you're in the day that it's happening because our system is also searching based on those days. So, I'm going to add something at the bottom here. So, let's just say that our client is doing a tour once they get back in to Italy, or yeah, back into Italy. They're going to leave and do a tour in Italy. Like I said, I want to go on this trip. It's so amazing. So we have this cool cruise that we just added, and now we want to add that tour. Now, how the tours database works is if you go to new event, choose tour. So you're going to choose the tour option. Now, what this is a database of tours that we have. So there's hundreds of different suppliers in here, but something really important to note is that these are going to be your group package tours. So these are not going to be any like customized tours because this is just a broad database of what people can book in there. So just wanted to clarify, that's kind of how you would find these. But the tour that I want to add, and you can see as I'm scrolling all of these, and we do have an FAQ, by the way, that shares a list of all the suppliers that we work with. So we'll make sure to include that as well. We'll share that.
I'll throw it in the chat right now.
Perfect. Yeah, because like I said, there's a lot. There's thousands of them. There's a lot. But in this example, I want to do a Trafalgar tour. So I'm just going to choose. I just started typing it in, and then I'm going to choose it. I'm going to select what tours, so you can see all the tours available. So you could scroll through, or you could start, typing in which one you're looking for. Now I want this Italian escapade classic group. So I'm going to click get itinerary. It's going to do like what it did with the cruise, where you want to make sure that, this is the one that you want. And then just click add to itinerary. And again, watch the magic happen here, where look at all this info. It just goes ahead and it's going to add everything in here. So they know what days they're there, what are they doing that day, all of that amazing information. So it's really cool. And again, you can customize this. If you want to whittle it down, you can. If you want to add more, if you want to add, the voucher, you could do that, like as Scott mentioned earlier, where there's the documents option. You can always attach those. But you can see also Trafalgar's also supplied us with a map of everything. But if you want to add more, you could. So it's just really amazing. So that is, those tours. So when you hear us talk about our cruise database or our tour database, that's what it is. You can see that. And again, we're pulling those from a provider that is getting that directly from the suppliers. So really, really awesome there. I did want to do a little bonus here, though. A bonus pro tip is adding Viator. So we also have a lot of different ways to add those bookings, but one that we get a lot of questions. We do have an integration with Viator, and how you add it is just a tad bit different, but it still falls under the tour option. But to add anything from Viator, you first need to go into your account and turn the setting on. So I'm going to show you how you do that really quick. So if I go back out to my main account page here, if you click on your name in the top right hand corner, click account. And this is where you're going to find all your settings. And you just want to go ahead and turn on use Viator tours and activity search. So you can go ahead and check that. You only need to do this once and it's going to remember it. So you'll never have to, you don't have to do that every time basically. And then what you do is you'll go into the day that you want to add it. So I actually have one on the 11th. So this is the tour, by the way, this Santorini wine tasting. So let's just pretend, I'm wanting to book this for my client to do during their cruise. So I'm going to go into this day. I'm going to click new event. And again, I'm going to choose tour. So this, again, the Viator does fall under the tour option. So I'm going to choose that. And then I'm just going to type in Viator. Now, if you're on this drop-down menu and you don't see Viator listed, that means you haven't turned it on in your settings. So remember that. So once you turn it on, you will see this option in the drop-down. And now you'll just have to enter the product code. So you can add any tour or activity from Viator in here. Now you can get this product code if you have an agent account, a travel agent account through Viator, you can get it in there. But let me show you how easy this is. You actually can just take the URL that you see up here at the top. It's going to be that product code is those last would be like 7-8 characters at the end. It's after the dash. So it's just right after the dash here. That's all you get. You just need to copy and paste that in, click get itinerary. There it is. So again, confirm that this is what you want to add. And now check out what happens. Look at that. All this information, once again, just pulling directly from Viator. And they even have a ton of photos too, which is awesome. And then of course, if you do need to come in here and you need to add like that voucher, just add it, attach documents. Very, very easy to do. One thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to rearrange this because it adds it since that didn't have a specific time, it just adds it at the end of that day. So you can always rearrange those as you're adding all kinds of tours and stuff like that in there. But I love that. The Viator option is really cool. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about as well. So you can see how Travefy works with our databases. So our databases for the cruise, the tours, but we also work directly with some suppliers. And that's why I'm really happy that we're having this webinar because I know it can get a little confusing sometimes when we talk about all the different integrations. Well, when you hear us talk about our direct booking integrations, that is what I'm going to show you. So those are suppliers that we are working directly with. So how that works to access those is you just go to new event and choose a booking. Now see this now, and not to be confused, you can't book things through Travefy. These are things that you would have booked already outside of Travefy with the supplier directly. You click in there. Now, this is a drop-down menu of all of the suppliers that we currently support. Now, again, you'll see that in that FAQ that Scott shared in the chat, but you can see in here, I saw Project Expedition being talked about. That's really popular. There's that one, and how you would use it is first, if it's your first time getting in this, it will ask you for your account information to sync. So that way, so we know whose account is this coming from, what's this booking information. You'll just do it one time and then you don't have to re-sign in every time. But that's all you do. So you just click in here, choose which one it is. And then, so you'll see right here that it's asking me for my credentials. But then once you enter all that information here, I'm going to go back to Project Expedition here. There we go. You'll have your booking number. So they'll call them different things, whether it's like reservation code, booking number, but you'll just get that directly from your supplier. You can get that in there and then you plug it in and then you click get booking and then it just brings it right in. Very easy. Very, very easy. One quick thing though, Scott, I'm going to pull you in on this is what if people are not seeing the supplier that they use in here? How can they get them in there?
I love that. And there's good news. We're always adding in new suppliers to
Yay.
Travefy. This is something that's super, super important to us. It's a topic our team constantly talks about because if any of you have noticed, the problem in the travel industry is not that every system talks to each other and connects. Unfortunately, that is the problem. It's so fragmented. Everyone has different systems and nothing talks to each other. So we take this at Travefy as a value that we can offer to advisors to make it a more streamlined workflow. So with that being said, our entire development team's in-house so that we can build these integrations all of the time. We don't outsource any of our development. We don't share our development team, so it's all in-house. That's a real significant advantage because then we can build these. So with that being said, if there are suppliers, your top 2, 3, 4, 5 suppliers that you do lots of business with, and they are not currently integrated with Travefy, firstly, let us know. Reach out to our support team in the live chat and ask about specific suppliers. This is helpful information for us, but in many instances, we actually have some integrations in the works already that it can take a little while just working back and forth with the supplier to get everything set. But what we love to do is actually work with you to get an introduction to the supplier, because we've found that if you, as the travel advisor, reach out to the supplier and say, hey, I use Travefy to manage all of my itineraries, work with my clients, I use it for CRM and forms, it would be so helpful if you, supplier X, are integrated with Travefy so I can just import bookings. It would save a lot of time. And hey, wink, wink, it helps me sell more of your product because I'm more efficient. The suppliers will pick up on that. They'll understand the value there. We do those integrations free of charge the vast majority of the time. So there's literally no cost to your suppliers. So with that being said, there's no reason for them to say no. We do all the integration work and we don't charge them for it. We view that as a value and a service to you as the advisor. So reach out to us. Let us know what those suppliers are if you don't have them integrated. There are lots that are on the top of our list that we hear about all the time, and we're consistently trying to reach out to them to get introductions to the right people that can, give us the green light on doing integration. So what you see today for integrations is not how it's going to be in 6 months or a year or 2 years. We're always adding in new supplier integrations.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't be surprised if you ever get in there and you're like, "Wait, I didn't know they had this." 'Cause we probably just added it. So we always do try to let everybody know too. We'll send out emails when we have new integrations, but yeah, sometimes they just come in really quickly and it's really awesome. But as Scott mentioned, definitely let us know because again, saving time and helping you look good is
Yeah.
our motto.
And so I'm just going to put a little bug in some of the travel advisors here on this, because I actually saw a few people mention like suppliers that they would really like to see. I'm just going to go ahead and ask for help in a few of these, because there are some that have been really hard to crack and open up the right conversation. And so this is me doing Babe Ruth, just calling my shot and saying we need help with these. So showing my cards there. Ellen, you said Apple Leisure Group. We would love to
Yes.
integrate with Apple Leisure Group. That is one that we've had a really hard time getting to the right decision maker. We get passed off a lot of times. We would love to integrate with them. So reach out to your representatives there, and whether it's a BDM or if you've met other representatives, in the hierarchy there, and introduce us. Just CC our customer support team, professional@travefy.com, on that email when you make that introduction. But other ones that we would love to integrate with, Delta Vacations, MLT, another top requested supplier, American Airlines Vacations. But then also, if you are in the Canadian market, any of the Canadian tour operators from Sunwing, Transat, Air Canada, travel brands, etc., we would love to build integrations with those. That is not us saying no to those. We just haven't gotten the right connection to get the green light with that. So send an introduction to your contact there, CC professional@travefy.com, and just say, I want an integration with Travefy. It'll make me work more efficiently and faster. And you guys should talk, and we'll follow up on every single one of those emails.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was a great plug. I love the honesty that we really want them in, but we need your help. Uh, so yeah, so really awesome. Getting all the suppliers and just pay it or keep watching. There'll be more coming in for sure. Um, so then one thing too that I wanted to mention before I have two more things that I want to talk about, and this one is destination content. So this one, if you are not familiar with it, it might change your life. So we have city that we call them city guides, but we have destination content built directly into Travefy that you can pull in very quickly, and it adds so much information and content to your trips. I see many advisors, especially when you're doing like those FIT personalized itineraries, and you just want to add lots of stuff, especially quoting, proposal process, give them a whole thing of what they can expect at this destination. City guides is going to be your answer. So I'm going to pull one in. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to go to August 10th because this is when they're in Mykonos. So let's say, we don't have anything planned for them on this day. They're just going to totally just explore everything on their own. So a good idea would be to add a city guide. So how you can access those is over on your right hand side. This is your library, which we're going to talk about after this. And if you click on city guides, what you do, just type in the name of the city. We have over 625 destinations worldwide. So what you can do is type in the name. So you're going to see here, I'm going to start typing in, Mykonos. You can see some other ones coming through, but I want Mykonos, so I'm going to click on that one. Now, what I'm going to do is I am just going to drag and drop this entire guide in here because I want to show you everything. But as it's loading, I do want to mention that you don't have to add everything in here. So if you just want sections, see all this that it just added. It's a lot. It's great though, but it's a lot of information. You have you're always going to get one that's just big blurb, like a few paragraphs of what this place is about. You've got those photos. Their photos are really cool too. They're very beautiful photos. But then you start getting things like do and see. So it's all narrowed down to different topics. So if they want dining, but again, as I mentioned earlier, with all of this stuff, you can edit it. If you want to remove things, you want to add your own information in here, you can do that. So you can add that in here. You can also delete them after. So if you wanted to say like, oh, they're not going to be here when the bars and nightlife is happening. So we're going to go ahead and just delete that out. You can do that. But it's really cool. There's a lot of information. There's also this as well that just kind of gives you general like how do you do the public transport here, things like that. So it's incredible. It's a lot of information in there, which is just so cool. Now, a little pro tip for you if you don't see the city guide you're looking for, or you specialize in your own destination, a lot of times what users will do will build their own city guides and save them. And how you do that is you just click the new event button and then choose info. So you're going to choose the info option. That's what type of event this is. And you can choose a subcategory of city guide. So that way you get that little purple book icon. And then you can just add your own information. And then, of course, save that to your library, which we will get into here. But that's also a really cool, just little pro tip that if you want to create your own guides for yourself to use, you can certainly do that as well. So now I'm going to get into the library. So we're going to wrap everything up here by talking about the library and then sharing that information. So the library I saved to the end because you can see how all of this comes in. Now, if you ever want to save something to reuse it again, so the best example would be like my hotel. So this hotel event where I added the photos and the videos, it was really easy to add that. But you don't really want to do that every single time. So, what I could do is I can save this so that if I ever have another trip where I'm adding this specific hotel, I can bring it in. It's really easy to do. You just go in like you're editing this event. And then down at the bottom, next to the done editing button, there's these three little dots. And that's going to give you some other options of things. Like you can always delete it or duplicate it if you want. But then there's the option to save it to the library. Now, the library is what you'll see over here on the right-hand side of your screen. So if you haven't saved anything yet, it'll be blank, but this is all going to be your own information. So that's what's really great is you're not going to have a library of information you don't need because this is going to be stuff that you specifically save. So what I could do is I'll save that. And then when I have another trip where I want to use this event, just search for it and drag and drop it in. Or there's also a little plus icon. You can just push that and it'll go into the day that you have opened, but it's incredible. It's really easy. And I'll show you actually how this works. So I'm going to add in, I never added a transfer from the airport to the hotel. So I actually have some generic, just events that I've saved. So here's a good pro tip for you is to go ahead and save events that doesn't have, like confirmation number, seat assignments, make it really generic. So that way you can always add it and then edit for what that client needs. So for example, I have this private transfer here. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop that in the middle. And then you can see I already have, well, technically this one's for a resort, but we'll just ignore that for now. And then you can come in here and you can add like the confirmation number or, the voucher, things like that in there. And that's not going to change what you have saved in your library. So that's what's really cool about that. Now, also talking about the library, you saw how I could save it from something I'm already working on. But if you go when you first log in, click the library option at the top, and this is where you'll see everything at. So you can come in here and edit things. You can add things directly in here. So a lot of people will get in their library and start building it up right away. You can also tag or label things. So if you want to organize everything, which we highly recommend. In fact, there's actually a webinar that we have on our YouTube channel that Scott did a really cool webinar once where it was tips and tricks of using your library and organizing it. He talks about that, all that good stuff in there. But you can add those labels when you're searching for something. It's really easy. All kinds of fun things in there. You can also do multi events. So if you have, like, you do a lot of tours and you have one day where it has, you're getting picked up from your hotel and then you're going to this winery and then you're going to go have lunch. You can actually create, we call them multi events, where you save multiple events into one. So that way, when you're adding it to a trip, you don't have to do each one individually. They all come packaged together. So that's really cool. The other really cool thing that we're going to round up on, and I can't believe it's already, we're already at 10 minutes away. So I want to make sure we get to some questions here. But we also recently added the ability that you can share stuff in your library. This is a game changer because if you're working especially if you're in a team or you're working with other agents or anyone in your organization, host agency, if they have things that you want to add to your library, it is very easy for them to share that with you. So they can do that if they go into their library. You just click in here and then click the share button. And then you can just click that. It's literally just a link that you'd share with anybody. You can share it on Facebook, copy it. And then when somebody gets that, here's what it looks like. They are able, if they are logged into their Travefy account, so you have to be logged in your Travefy account because we need somewhere to save it. Just click copy to library and then it saves it all in there. It is incredible. Now, one other thing that I want to, and I'm going to drop this link. Scott, I'm going to toot Scott's horn here because he made this really cool website.
Tooting the horn.
Yep. Oh yeah. Scott is just rocking it here at Travefy. I mean, look at this thing. But he made this library sharing gallery, and I'll let you explain what's all in here.
So, quick plug, this
Yeah.
landing page built with Travefy's landing page
True.
builder.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
demonstrating how you can build lots of really cool professional looking content in there. But when we launched library sharing, this has been one of the most requested features over the last several years because agents would get started with Travefy. They would love a lot of the integrations that we have built in, but they would want to be able to get access to content that other agents have built. And so we actually see Facebook groups and things like that pop up that were started by users, and they're all about sharing content with each other. And so we wanted to showcase some of the amazing content that Travefy users, travel advisors out there that use Travefy, have created, but also allow you to copy that content to your library as a great starting point. We also, as Stephanie's pointing out here, reached out to some of our amazing friends and colleagues from various suppliers like Visit Britain and Big Five Tours, so that you could check out some of their content and incorporate that into your account and see some great examples. We even have a gallery down at the bottom of sample forms that various travel advisors shared with us. So you can go to this page. Stephanie shared this in the chat within Zoom here, but it's also accessible in our support center at Travefy. But then you can go in, click into a content, and then copy it to your library. Quick plugs: if you're brand new to Travefy, brand new, and you're doing some all-inclusives and things like that, on that library sharing page, we have a few users that have helped put together a really great library of Mexico and Caribbean and Dominican Republic and Hawaii resorts. You can check those out and copy them to your library to help jumpstart it, and then you can make changes and updates to that content. Now, having said that, this is awesome. Library sharing is fantastic. It is super, super helpful, but we're not done yet with
Not done
library
yet.
sharing. This is just a first step. We want to make it even easier to share content in the future between people, but also make it easier for you to find content in the future. So just know that there's more coming with this. This is just a first phase so that we can get those really helpful tools to share content out there. Now, quick question from Iveline. If you can go,
Mhm.
Stephanie, and actually show them how do you copy that content to your library in there. So starting
Yeah.
from an item that was shared with you.
Yeah. So what you would do, so I have the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in here. And even though this is past now, but if you wanted to copy it to your library, you can see. So first, you'll get a link that looks very similar to this. Sometimes it might be one item or it might be a lot, but you can go ahead and click into it. So you want to make sure like this is what I want to add, all that type of information. And then what you'll do is literally just click the copy to library button. Now, remember, you need to be logged into your account for this to appear. So if you don't see that, that's what's happening. And so you just click copy to library. And that's it. I literally just clicked a button and then I'll just click view in library and now I can go see. And there it is. It is beautiful, and you can see where it was copied from. So if you kind of once you start adding tons of stuff in there, you always have that map back to where did that come from, type of a thing. So really awesome, and you can add more in here if you wanted. So
Definitely.
really cool.
More to
Well,
come. More to
oh,
come. Stay tuned.
yes, more to come. Oh, super. I saw everyone's like, awesome. Oh my God. So cool. So okay, we have time for some questions. So I looked at the clock and I was like, where did the time go? It's just we're having too much fun. So one question was Joyce asked, what is the pricing for Travefy? And that's a very good question. So first of all, for Travefy, if any of you are not signed up yet, you can do a free 10-day trial. Just go to travefy.com. You'll have access to all of this. So you could build up your library, you can access a website builder, whatever it is. But I also recommend doing like a demo during that period, checking out our getting started guide, all that good stuff. But all to say that you can subscribe then either monthly or annually. If you subscribe monthly, it'll be $39 a month. But if you go annually, you'll save 20%, making it $31 a month. So really good deal there. And if you want to start off monthly and upgrade later, you can do that too. But yeah, so that's how you get started in there. Shannon had asked, how do I share itineraries with suppliers that are helping design itineraries with me? That is a great question. So we actually have the ability to collaborate. So if that ever is the case, what you can do is let's just go into this trip. So the Smith family vacation, let's say if I'm working with someone else on this, what you can do is click the send button at the top. And that's how you actually send this to your clients. But there's an option for collaborators. So you can click manage collaborators. And then all they have to do, just put in their email in here, and you'll get to see on the right hand side when you start adding them. And once you invite them, they will be able to get in there and edit and add things with you. Now, you'll see this little banner at the top. It says collaborators must have a Travefy account. So they do need to have a Travefy account. If they don't, they'll just go into a trial. So then that way they have the option to start a trial so they can check it out and help you build things. But it's really cool. You can add those collaborators in there. And then you can remove them if you need to. So it's really awesome. Desiree asks, is there an agency subscription option for small agencies of 1 to 5 agents? Yes. So you can create what we call them a team. So you can create a team on Travefy. So if you have a team and you're the team leader, what you can do is go into your account. So you would just start a Travefy subscription like anyone else. But then if you go into your account here, you'll be able to see the team option on the left-hand side. And then here, see, I don't have anyone else on here, but if I want to add a team member, you can do that. Just click add team member, put in their name and email, and then they'll be able to come in here. They'll just get an invite, letting you know that they are inviting you to join the team. And then once they're in here, one of the top things that's really cool is you share the library. So that's really awesome. You can see each other's trips, so you can help edit and collaborate on those trips, or saying, if I'm like, oh, I'm going to be out on vacation, can you finish this up? And I can assign that to them if I wanted. So it's very collaborative, but the library is really cool. But one of the best parts about this is you receive a discount when you create a team. So everybody everybody's account is a Travefy subscription, but you receive a discount depending on the size of that team. So if you have 2 to 5 people on the team, it'll be a 15% discount. And then as you get larger, it gets higher. So like after you get like 6 to 10, it goes up to 20%. So it just starts growing, and it'll go automatically. So you can always come in here, add, remove people as you need. It's very easy to do. Maureen had asked, can you review adding attachments? Yes. So adding attachments, you can add to any event. So anywhere in here. Also, actually, a little pro tip, you can also go in the information document section. This is at the top of the trip. And this is a great place if you need to add like insurance info or just like COVID information, just anything that pertains to the trip as a whole. But there's always going to be an option on every event at the bottom that says attach documents. Another really cool thing is you can also, if there's ever documents that you want to reuse again, you can save them to your library. So you can also save those attachments to your library, and then you would just drag and drop them into an event when you're ready to use it. So very easy there. Sylvia had asked, what's the easiest way to send proposal to a client? So the easiest way is just click the send button in the top right-hand corner here. And then if you can click email invite clients, I always recommend this. It's so easy. Just drop in their email address, put a custom message if you want, and then it'll send them an email with a link to view the trip, which will be, it'll look like this. Right there. So they can view this on any device. You can also get that URL though. If you want to copy that URL and paste it in like an email or a text, you can do that too. But I always recommend just click that send button and then email it directly through Travefy. But we are at time. I cannot believe how fast this has gone. Just goes so fast when you're having so much fun. But I do want to mention the last thing I'll say too is for that help, because again, I know there's a lot we went over, but also a lot that we didn't. So feel free, if you're in your account, you can click the help button in the top right-hand corner here. And this will bring you right to our help center, which is just travefy.com/support. But there's so much in here. We also have weekly webinars. We have weekly webinars on all of our different tools. Of course, contact us, but you can schedule a training, a demo, watch videos, tons of stuff in there. So yeah, really cool. Let us know how we can help. And thank you so much again for joining. And thanks for joining as well, Scott. Appreciate having you
Yes.
on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes, anytime, anytime. Yes. And yeah, so again, check out all those upcoming webinars, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, and maybe see you at some conferences here coming up.
awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
See ya. Have a good day.